Following our desire, the Lacan Salon, the first salon and School of Psychoanalysis, is committed to the transmission of psychoanalysis and the formation of analysis and the formation of We are sustained by the works of Sigmund Freud and Jacques Lacan.
We are sustained by the works of Sigmund Freud and Jacques Lacan, and associated with the psychoanalytic school founded in 1994.
The unconscious speaks and can be listened to. We aim to produce a psychoanalytic style that privileges singularity, criticality, community work,
style,
subjective education,
singularity,
rigorous articulation,
criticality,
without
work, subjective
concern with social
and
political
rigorous articulation, theory without
converse
or
with the arts, philosophy,
we concern with the socio-political state of our world, we converse with the arts, philosophy, critical theory, and poetic concepts.
mental health
Through the
disorders,
specificity of psychoanalytic practice, we intervene in fields such as counseling, mental health discourse, psychiatry, therapeutic companionship, group therapy, and
companionship,
the Lacan Salon was the first English-speaking territory in Canada dedicated to the study of Lacanian psychoanalysis. Situated in Vancouver on the traditional territories of the Musqueam, Squamish,
the artistic community, and the community at large.
Since 2007, the Salon has been a unique space for confluence between the Academy,
and their connection
the artistic community, and the community at large, enriching the intellectual life of Vancouver through the discussions of Jacques Lacan's seminars and their connection with relevant contemporary As of March 2nd, 2025, we became a section of Corpo
on the formation of
psychoanalytic school founded in 1994 in Rio de Janeiro, and that currently counts 700 members within various regions of Brazil
We are autonomous and conduct our work
which centers its efforts on the formation
spring 2024
by reading
we began
Lacan
to look into
dialogue.
January and we will continue working.
While we are associated with Corpo Freudiano and influenced by their style, we are autonomous and conduct our work
On asylum, on refuge, exploring desolation, standing up against discourses and practices that oppress by forcing consensus and the terror of
We aim to offer a companionship
We
in
welcome
the
the
analytic
possibilities of
permanent
failing
formation,
not knowing
an asylum or
being a
refuge
stranger
from cultural desolation, standing up against discourses
March
and
2nd,
practices that oppress
2025.
by forcing consensus and the terror of mastery.
Standing up against
We
discourses
welcome
and
the
practices that
possibilities of
oppress
failing,
by forcing
not knowing,
consensus and the
being a
terror
stranger,
of mastery.
and trusting in
We
voices.
welcome the possibilities of failing, not knowing, being a stranger, and trusting the companionship.
We welcome the possibilities of failing, not knowing, being a stranger, and trusting
cultural
poesis.
desolation,
March 2nd,
standing up against
2025.
discourses and practices that oppress by forcing consensus and the terror of mastery. We welcome the possibilities of failing, not knowing, being a stranger, and trusting poesis.
Good morning, everyone. What you heard is the manifesto prepared by all of us at Corpo Freudiano Vancouver. You can read it. It's made with our different accents, rhythms, and sensibilities. We want to welcome everyone and celebrate that you are here. We also acknowledge that we are meeting in the sacred and unceded territories of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. My name is Hilda Fernandez. I am a co-founder member of the Corpo Freudiano Vancouver Lacanian School of Psychoanalysis and have the absolutely honor and privilege to serve as its current president. Corpo Freudiano is a school founded this year in March. Today we open our doors to announce our analytic program in Freudio-Lacanian psychoanalytic formation, and our agenda for today has 3 parts. We will introduce ourselves, then present the program, and also we want to hear your questions. We hope you find something of what you are looking for here with us today. I am originally from Mexico City and I have lived in Vancouver since 2000. My analytic experience involves work in public and private settings. I work in an emergency hospital in Mexico City for 8 years in the Red Cross Emergency Hospital, working with the physical and psychically wounded after they had suffered an accident. When I moved here, I worked at Vancouver Coastal Health for more than 10 years with people with various mental health diagnoses and with populations touched by suicide. I have an interdisciplinary background in clinical psychology, literature, and human geography. And apart from my full-time practice in Yaletown, I write about psychoanalysis, its theory and practice, as well as about love, the sociopolitical dimension of our time, and the environment. All these long years in Vancouver, I have been thinking about how one could create a space that brings about the radicality of psychoanalysis. I co-founded the Lacan Salon in 2007 alongside some colleagues from the academia. It was a Lacanian study group that accompanied me with theoretical rigor for 16 years here in Vancouver. Yet I was awaiting for the opportunity to form something that could truly get to the core of psychoanalysis, which is its practice. I feel very grateful to have encountered my wonderful colleagues present here today to start giving shape to such a project by founding Corpo Freudiano Vancouver. We all met at the Lacan Salon, and it was there that we developed working transferences. That is to say, a regard for each other's thoughts and talents and the respectful disposition to work collectively and creatively in difference. In today's meeting, we will talk about various things that each of us bring to the table. Corpo Freudiano, a Lacanian school of psychoanalysis, emerged as a collective interest to create the conditions for people to enter a psychoanalytic formation, or what is called traditionally training in psychoanalysis. Language is important in the Lacanian perspective, and it includes both the verbal and the non-verbal elements, because the unconscious is structured as language, as the Lacanian aphorism goes. So we offer analytic formation more than analytic training. Training refers to instruction, development of techniques, preparation for a job. While this is part of what an analytic formation might entail, the formation of the analyst is a larger concept. It is a life project. It involves first and foremost your personal analysis, then training in theory and technique, a practice, and supervision, sometimes called super audition, following Lacan's concept that we are not looking at what the other is doing when we do supervision, but rather listening to it. So we offer analytic formation more than training. Similarly, Corpo Freudiano Vancouver is a school that differs from the university or the college. Our Lacanian School of Psychoanalysis doesn't offer a diploma or warrant you a job, but it creates the conditions for you to establish a self-directed trajectory that can lead you to authorize yourself to practice. Lacan stated that the analyst derives her authorization only from herself. This is in Proposition of 1967, and I am changing the pronouns. Later, Lacan talked, when he was thinking about the dispositive known as the past, la paz, Lacan would add that the analyst authorizes only by herself, but some others. We want to be those some others. The connotation of the term school, as it is used in various disciplines, refer to a group of people who share a common philosophy, a style, a technique, or intellectual approach, like the School of Athens for classical philosophy, the Frankfurt School for critical theory, the Kootenai School for writing in BC, or the Mexican muralist. All those kind of concepts of school form around a shared set of principles to create a practice around some text or figures. Corpo Freudiano is a school of psychoanalysis which aims to form a style like the one outlined in our manifesto that involves singularity, criticality, community work, subjective implication, and rigorous articulation of theory without being orthodox. We are concerned with the sociopolitical state of the world and converse with the arts, philosophy, critical theory, poetic discourses, and mental health practices. At Corpo Freudiano, Vancouver, we are sustained by the works of Sigmund Freud and Jacques Lacan and associated with Corpo Freudiano, a psychoanalytic school founded in 1994 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and that currently counts about 700 members within various regions of Brazil, the US, and France. As a section of that school, we are influenced by their style but are autonomous and conduct our work independently. We hope that you would like to be part of this project and work together in developing conditions to promote psychoanalytic thought and practice in Vancouver and other geographies where you live. Oftentimes people ask me, what is really psychoanalysis about? What is the difference with other types of therapies? Or what is the goal of psychoanalysis? I love these questions because there is already a desire to know about the unconscious. In my opinion, psychoanalysis is a form of being in the world that is aware of the effects of the unconscious. Psychoanalysis is an openness to interrogate the truth emergent in the apparently nonsensical phenomenon of dreams, lapses, errors, and symptoms. Psychoanalysis is the courage to ask ourselves questions about the absurd repetitions that damages us, the enjoyments that paradoxically destroys us, or the truth of those desires that we prefer to ignore. Psychoanalysis is a desire to explore the thoughts we have not yet thought, to host the knowledge we do not know that we know. The difference with other therapies is that psychoanalysis responds to suffering by inquiring about the unconscious truth beyond any goals of healing or adaptation, but rather potentiating the force of the sexual drive from death into life. Psychoanalysis, as Marco Antonio Coutinho, a founder member of Corpo Freudiano, it involves an alive transmission through experience. In psychoanalysis, a subject becomes the ethical articulation of their unconscious desire, and it might result in learning to love and work beyond the persecution of the superego, the narcissistic jail of competition and aggressivity, and beyond the disastrous self-fulfilled prophecy. But psychoanalysis involves a loss, a good-ridden loss of ideals and identifications that sicken us, and yet still we defend with teeth and nails. Invented or discovered by Sigmund Freud at the dawn of the 19th century, psychoanalysis is a young field. As Jack says, is the lingua franca of modernity. We understand being human in our time by understanding that not all is reason, that we are divided individuals, and that the intimacy of our speech and other speaks. A multitude made of our ancestors' dreams and traumas, our lineages, shortcomings and hopes, our cultural ideas and fears. In its various bifurcations, Kleinian, Jungian, Ferencian, one of the most powerful is the psychoanalytic Lacanian perspective. It is powerful because it privileges the limit and poses the impossible as the field of study. The limit as potentiality. The real, the object A, the void are spectralities that organize the world. Psychoanalysis offers the possibility to find the possibility within the impossibility. And because the field of the unconscious is a real complexity, the formation of the analyst is a lifelong learning and a permanent formation. We hope you want to consider a trajectory with us to find a solid theoretical foundation for an ethical approach to human suffering as an alternative to the current counseling gold rush, which promotes the illusion of a quick career built on a prepackaged responses to complex human and social problems. the city and the region demands and deserves possibilities to think mental human suffering from a perspective that offer to be part of possibilities. Join us to be part of building with us those possibilities. Thanks for being here. Now I'm going to pass the voice to Rachel Moxham. She is not here today. She's the treasurer of Corpo Freudiano Vancouver, but she left us a very nice video that I will play now. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you decided to join us at our Corpo Freudiano Vancouver Open House. My name is Rachel Moxham. I am the treasurer for CFV, and I'd like to talk for a couple minutes about the unique situation of starting the School of Psychoanalysis in Vancouver. A friend once said to me, if you throw a stick from anywhere in Vancouver, you will hit a counselor and a yoga teacher. I'm not sure about the yoga teacher, but this is true of counselors, at least metaphorically. There are at least 5 counseling schools in Vancouver. I myself trained at a counseling school in Vancouver. And this raises some questions. What will be different about Corpo Freudiano Vancouver, since we are not a counseling school, but rather a school for psychoanalysis? What is the difference between counseling and psychoanalysis? And what made me cross over? Speaking from my own counseling education, I was surprised when there wasn't a rigorous exploration into what, to me, seemed like important questions for a clinical practice, such as what is subjectivity, what is desire, what drives a person to act. It's not that these questions weren't asked at all in my practice, but there wasn't much acknowledgement that there have been major thinkers in all corners of the world delving into these questions for thousands of years. Without that acknowledgement, it's easy to merely reiterate taken for granted premises, and then you can find yourself stuck within a discourse or a certain way of thinking without knowing it. Since finishing my formal schooling, I've noticed that there are many extra trainings in the counseling field that one is encouraged to take and participate in. Most of them are about learning different techniques, how to deal with a certain type of issue, or how to work with a certain population. While I acknowledge it is important to continue engaging with what one does not know and continue learning, all these trainings and the culture with them create an issue. That is the expectation that the therapist knows and that the client, patient, or analysand doesn't know. Moreover, the therapist comes to expect of themselves that they know, that they have answers to offer, thus requiring more and more training as if there could ever be enough tools, skills, or books. This to me is the difference between counseling and psychoanalysis. One felt like a treadmill of continually accumulating bits of knowledge to hopefully one day feel like an expert in something, although I'm not sure what in. The other is also an education, but one of not knowing, being disoriented, of doing away with the need to have answers. With that, CFV is a collective of people who come together with questions rather than answers to explore. This very much includes the questions I mentioned earlier, such as what is desire, but many other questions as well. It is a space of patience with not knowing, of generosity of interpretation, of welcoming others, and of creativity with uncertainty. While the counterintuitive nature of this way of learning can be frustrating and again disorienting, I hope that if it intrigues you, that you will give it a try because it offers a joyfully imaginative and enlivening alternative to the treadmill. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Now we will move into Mandana, who is the secretary of the Corpo Freudiano Vancouver. Mandana.
Hi. Hi, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation, and thanks for being here. My name is Mandana Mansouri. I practice psychoanalysis. I write, and it's a great honor and pleasure to be a founding member of Corpo Freudiano Vancouver, the secretary who sends you letters, before bi-weekly and now every once in a while. I'm particularly interested in the school of psychoanalysis for its political nature. I've heard from many statements about analysis being an apolitical practice, something like, I don't think analysis is political. I think it's only limited to a certain class. It made my friend even more self centered, and so on. Let me say I don't agree. Psychoanalysis, to me, is a way of finding out of the self, a cure for narcissism, to be with the others while owning one's own singularity and difference. In Dana Haraway's word, to stay with the trouble. As Freud said, psychoanalysis is a cure through love. And I want to remind us that love is a political act, to fully acknowledge the other. In that sense, I'm here with love. Somehow, bear with my religious vocabulary, also with faith in our ability to be transformed with and by the other, the one who we send our letters to. I found a Lacanian school of psychoanalysis with respect to all language around safety a brave space, where there is room for difficult questions and contradictions, a place that one, as my friend Mai would say, dares to speak, to be. Shall I practice that a little bit here? I came to psychoanalysis not from a straight, direct path, not a prestigious or tempting way of making money, or a career, or something else. My wounds moved me. I found myself on the couch shattered by personal and political realities that affected my body and speech. As Juan Luis said to me once, there is no clean way to do analysis. One needs to find her way out through blood, tears, and shit. The psychoanalyst office is a delivery room, the labor room. Having that in mind, the school is a place that makes it possible for us to dare to traverse and change position, to dare to go to the delivery room, one way or another. There are places in this beautiful and unjust world where psychoanalysis is not a profanity. In Iran, where I am coming from, where I was born, there are plenty of schools and psychoanalysts. In Latin America, with my limited knowledge, I know it's the same. I wonder if there is something about our time that makes this practice well received in the global south. If that's the case, how necessary it is to bring it here. I hope we contaminate this beautiful place to make room for the repressed. Before October 7, Razana Salah, a Palestinian artist, once talked about the right to return. We chatted for a couple of hours. The repressed, the oppressed, they will come back, this time even stronger. To join a Lacanian school of psychoanalysis is brave. Bravery does not happen in isolation and without the support of others. That's what Judith Butler suggests, no? I want to be brave with many of you. Join us and let's be transformed. Apply this January for the first intake of the school and shape it with us. As Rachel said, we don't know, but we have a desire for a different way of being and relating to one another. Join us and let's co-create.
Thank you, Mandana. I'm gonna now play Juan Luis, who is not here, he's in Mexico. And
Hello, my name is Juan Luis Aramora. I practice psychoanalysis in Vancouver, and I am a founding member and part of the board of Corpo Freudiano Vancouver, Lacanian School of Psychoanalysis. I wish I could be there with you today, but I am in Mexico City right now, so I'm recording this message for the open house. What is a school of psychoanalysis? A continuous becoming with others. A school of psychoanalysis is a place where those who are stung, beaten, cut, torn by its experience in a way that produces a desire to become an analyst, may find the conditions to embark on that journey with others. A place where those who practice psychoanalysis can discuss the problems they encounter and the solutions they attempt. Where those interested in psychoanalysis as a discourse, in contact with other fields, such as the arts, politics, anthropology, geography, psychology, and psychiatry, to name only a few, can engage in ways that are both rigorous and open. For Corpo Freudiano Vancouver, the experience of psychoanalysis, whether directly concerned with its practice or with its cultural consequences, is defined by the field of problems developed by Freud's texts and Lacan's teachings, primarily concerned with the unconscious, desire, and transference. A school is an analytic community. This means it aims to be sustained by a very particular kind of social relation, one characterized by desire and work, and by a certain experience of loss. For those who feel the desire to become analysts, Lacan object A, as encountered at the end of an analysis, works as a wrench thrown in the machine of traditional psychoanalytic training. It disrupts the repetitive churning of knowledge and power in the production of subjectivities, in the reproduction of the same. What the experience of analysis allows is a radical loss. It produces an irrecuperable rupture at the level of the being of the analyst. At Corpo Freudiano Vancouver, we aim to construct a school that, like a torus, holds Lacan's object A at the center of our life as a community. A school is a device matrix. It houses other devices: cartel, seminar, study group, supervision, formation, pass. The spaces and ways we consider necessary and adequate for discussing, studying, and transmitting psychoanalysis. A school of psychoanalysis is a risk, a tension. In the wake of the First World War, Freud and some of his colleagues wanted to make psychoanalytic treatment available for the working class. This endeavor led to the creation of the Berlin Polyclinic and its training institute in 1920. Soon, however, the logic of the markets overshadowed Freud's ideas, and training became a rigid process, an assembly line that cemented authority and produced classes within the institutes. Lacan's style didn't sit well with this system, and he was prohibited from being a didactician in 1964. He went on to found his school and would continue to work with others to produce alternative devices, new forms and styles of working together. In his proposition on the analyst of the school, he famously stated that an analyst is only authorized by themselves, a phrase that he would complement in 1974 with "and a few others." During those last 2 decades of his life and teachings, he was increasingly interested in transmission and the formation of analysts. There is a dialectic relation between Lacan's proposals and his theory. Studying the history of the devices invented by Lacan and his colleagues is essential if we want to discuss what we mean by subject, object, symptom, etc., and especially how we operate with them in our practice. What analysis is and how it works. What knowledge is and what is its place and the end.
Thank you, Juan Luis, for that. Yeah, it's as you are getting to know these colleagues of mine, these board members, it's a wonderful group of people. I'm very grateful and happy to have them. Working together for this cause. The next person that is going to talk is Desiree Young.
Hi, everyone. I am going to introduce myself. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Desiree Young, and I'm a member and one of the co-founders of Corpo Floridiano Vancouver. I'm also a poet, a psychoanalyst in English and Portuguese languages. I'm here to talk to you a bit about how I see a school of psychoanalysis and how, in my opinion, it's directly related to one's trajectory in their own personal analysis, or bluntly, to the question, what is it that I want? The simplicity and yet overwhelming reach of such question is not without effects. The more I dived into my own speaking act, the greater this desire to know what psychoanalysis was all about grew in me. Talking to an analyst was the first moment. The end of my analysis was the second moment. The third moment resides somewhere in between. Oddly, when before I knew what I was doing, I was already transmitting my analytical experience through my poetic works and essays. I also joined the BEP Rio, Espaço Brasileiro de Estudos Psicanalíticos Rio de Janeiro, and continued to attend the Lacan Salon in Vancouver, which later became Corpo Freudiano Vancouver. There were ups and downs in this process, and yet something insisted, and the desire for the transmission of psychoanalysis persisted, be it through a school or, but also as necessary, through artistic practices. Recently, I represented Corpo Freudiano Vancouver in the fifth encounter on the formation of the analysts organized by Corpo Freudiano São Paulo, where many other sections and nucleus of Corpo Freudiano were present. And it was in my physical presence in this event that I first encountered in my body the sudden effects of what it means to be part of a school of psychoanalysis. From my own motherland, Brazil, I was able to look back at Vancouver and recognize the cause of psychoanalysis in a geographical turn of sorts as my desire for a school became palpable. It was like falling in love with the space. And as with love, the effects of the transmission of psychoanalysis can be attested by one's body, be it through its vicissitudes or joys, especially when inserted in a community of singular others. Different from other schools or university environments I have circulated and attended, a school of psychoanalysis such as Corpo Freudiano Vancouver is a singular space which follows a rigorous theoretical foundation, and yet it does not promise a certificate, a degree, or definitive answers or guarantees. What it offers, on the contrary, is a relentless desire for psychoanalysis in a group of people ethically decided to create a place and a space for psychoanalysis in this part of the world. It is also important to highlight that what keeps a person in a school of psychoanalysis might not be the same urge that brings her or him there in the first place, just like what brings one to analysis not often is the reason why one stays. A school of psychoanalysis will not give you a master's degree. It will not flirt with the fast chronological learning paths, accelerated to the maximum demand by neoliberal and machine ways of learning. Our structure is not rigid. It implies encounters and misencounters, and it follows a non-Euclidean logic. It takes into account the limits of one's capacity to know or articulate it in language, which goes against the university or pedagogical discourses. It is a type of social bonding that sometimes is somewhat disturbing, uneven, as it is with the experience of listening to the unconscious. Corpo Freudiano Vancouver is a school of psychoanalysis that sees a school as an open set, infinite, and bothersome. I would like to end here by citing Alain Didier Bail in his text, The Question on the Formation of the Analyst for Lacan, where he argues that the fact that a psychoanalyst says yes or affirms to have said yes to psychoanalysis does not mean necessarily that this yes has been inscribed in the unconscious. In other words, such affirmation or yes might be situated in the field of the conscious knowledge, or what Lacan called the university knowledge. As a subject of the unconscious, however, this same analyst might say no to psychoanalysis instead. Thus, a school of psychoanalysis traverses the yes and the no's that emerge in the process of formation, be it as resistance, anguish, struggles, desire, or joys. Be brave and join us. Thank you.
Thank you, Desiree. The next person to talk is Eric Larson.
Hello. You guys can hear me okay so far too? Great. Nice to see all of you here. So my name is Eric Larson. I'm a psychoanalyst working in Chicago with adults and children, um, and director of the board of Corpo Freudiano Vancouver, the Lacanian School of Psychoanalysis. So again, thanks for coming to our open house. We're very glad to have you here and to welcome you. Um, and I was thinking too of some how we can make a way when things are when people are away, right? We don't have some people with us at the moment, but we make our way, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I was going to say that I think it's crucial to make the leap to come and meet in person, to spend time with these lovely people in the flesh, which I got to do recently. Um, and even so, my desire to be a part of Corpo Freudiano Vancouver has so much to do with the experience of being at a distance here too, right? From here in Chicago. So with the seminar readings, the transformative potential of cartel work, and in discussing psychoanalytic practice with this group of people who I find to be extremely thoughtful, truly committed to the project of psychoanalysis and to this school, they continue to offer the openness that being a part of a group requires in order to produce something new. This group has always been welcoming, accommodating of my being at such a distance, allowing space for my own limitations and inhibitions to play out, and the time for them to be subsequently re-articulated in my desire to participate, to write, and to be a part of this newness myself. So, and then I think about the idea of a psychoanalysis that welcomes in what is, or what would seem to be at least, outside. Patricia Gerovici writes somewhere about the initial welcoming of a new patient and the invitation to speak, to say whatever comes to mind, to say everything. This welcoming of the articulation of the phantasm, the frightening and exhilarating faces that emerge, of the messiness of a child, of the invitation to difference more broadly. So this inviting in, while also offering some potential refuge from, perhaps more and more crucial these days. This inviting in of what comes with living in the barrio, she says, which comes from an Arabic word meaning the outside, in her instance of the Ciudad de Oro in Philadelphia. So this welcoming in, or maybe it's a sort of welcomed out, if you allow me to play a little bit. This welcoming in has been multiple in my case, with this Corpo Freudiano welcoming me as an outsider living in Chicago, and thus without the experience of what it is to be living and working in Vancouver there. And then welcoming my perspectives as they may diverge or in their foreignness, turning off in different directions, even when I lose my way. And also in grappling with my own otherness then, when I don't coincide with myself on questions of my desire, when my wish for distance can go so far as to be muddled up with other preoccupations around proximity, the latter perhaps not being sufficiently distinguished in me anyway from over proximity at times. This group of people, and also those from other sections of the Corpo Freudiano, who I've been so lucky to have had a chance to hear from and speak with, whose work has so consistently impressed me, seem to again and again find ways of reworking ideas, offering a new way of thinking that points towards a relationship to foreignness that goes even beyond the distinction between inside and outside. They produce fantastic theoretical and creative works that have moved me and continue to move me towards the production of something like this of my own. So in this project of my own formation, which has been rather long considered and delayed, I've been able to find the indications of a direction forward here, which may yet yield a move across the borderlines for me. So I may wind up becoming one of those who live and work in Vancouver after all. We'll see. But in this logic, topological and temporal, I see the sketch of a Vancouver project from my present position as well, it being also a place grappling with legacies of foreignness. And so this is how the Corpo moves, right? We invite those from Brazil and across other border lines to join us too, as we are able to also join them, not only in hybrid events, this word which might capture some of the intertwining I've been trying to approach here, but when we bring guests in person to Vancouver to work with us each semester, which is the plan as well. Right? So the excitement of the possibilities of this school, I think, is tangible, and I insist tangible once from far away, and then again when we are in person. So thanks again for coming. Nice to see all your faces and to be able to talk to you. I look forward to the future.
Thank you, Eric. That was very refreshing. Alois, he's co-president of Corpo Freudiano. Go ahead, Alois.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good to see you. Yes, this has been a long project. That's a lot of Zoom meetings, and it's good that we're having a meeting that, yeah, it feels one step closer to the actual school. So it's a very exciting day. I will say that, yes, I am the last one to speak. So yes, we'll get to talking about the actual program and school in one moment. And yes, I'll keep mine pretty brief, I think. Okay, so why psychoanalysis? There is not much to recommend the experience. It is expensive, often miserable, and the effects it leaves are faint. The thought never leaves me that it is a scam, a cult, a charlatan's nightmare that we are forced to live in. Few of its proponents inspire me for long. I drive myself to insomnia trying to plot my escape. But I can't escape. I dread my sessions unlike anything else. I could describe it like a painful intimacy. Often compare it to Ishmael being forced to share the bed with Queequeg in the overcrowded inn in Moby Dick. Some strange body crowding into you in your most vulnerable state when you just want to sleep. The session begins. The analyst has no idea what they are doing. I think of the assistants in Kafka's The Castle, who act as if they are ready to perform any task to aid K in his quest to enter the castle, but only end up harassing and leading him in circles with their comic, but also grim ineptitude. There is no hope of entrance by the end, only the growing sense that your life, much like Kafka's novel, will be unfinished. There is nothing to say. The brain is a void, the unconscious is dead, no words or letters visit anymore. How can you interpret radioactivity? There is only transmission of pain. The analyst suffers too. You assault them with stupidities, platitudes, and false profundities, your voice a haunting and metallic drone. The analyst is forced to watch as you search for your keys where you did not lose them. Like some figure from Greek mythology, they suffer a unique and eternal curse. There is no progress or change. Much like Freud wandering in the unfamiliar Italian city, you keep returning to the same street, only rather than being lost for one night like Freud, a year goes by in analysis. The street looks the same, but you have gotten older. You are not making the most of your analysis, clearly. The session ends, a relief for both parties. Money is withdrawn from your account, sometimes with difficulty. It is a major financial commitment, but at the same time, the money exchange does not match the services provided. There is a disjunction. It feels like too little for what you subject the poor analyst to, making you feel a little dirty. All around you, necessarily to form a school, there are celebrations, elucidations, and exaltations of psychoanalysis for its supposed benefits. Yet, these are difficult to reconcile with the experience itself, which is often a singular journey into one's own suffering. I find it difficult still to collectivize this experience. Sometimes you can only cry. But from those tears, a word might blossom, a word that can get you through another few weeks. At the end, Perhaps that is why psychoanalysis. Psychoanalysis is brave enough to go where it is darkest in the human spirit and spend as much time there as is necessary. Likewise, the school is a courageous project. It too advances into the unknown, into the mystery and despair that is all of us. Even if the journey is impossible, it is good to have company. I'll leave it there.
Thank you, Alois. Now we are going to move to talking about the programs. I wanted to say something because I didn't read my presentation. It was very brief, but I wanted to say that we all met in the Lacan Salon, which was a group that had 16 years of experience. I co-founded it in 2007 with other colleagues, and it was more academic, but that 16 years of experience also nourished this project, right? Like we are not coming from the void. Okay, so I'm gonna again share some slides, and Desiree is gonna introduce some of the programs that we have. The basic, the permanent information, the analyst formation. So go ahead, Desiree.
Yeah, everyone. Now you can take a break. Breathe. Let's breathe together so we can just move the air from all this talking. And anyone from Corpo can jump in. I'm just going to introduce some of the basic things, and then you guys can well, at the end you guys can ask questions if you have, but just so an overall, and later on this will be in the website. We haven't done that yet. I have to do that. So I have to do that. So anyway, so we this structure, in a way, it follows a bit the structure of Corpo Freudiano, the school itself, the group. They have a very, very a very strong program. So we did it in a way that adapts to our own school. But a lot of the ideas come from them, but we just created it a little bit different. So we have 3 different programs, which is the basic formation, the permanent formation, and the analyst information, which we're not offering it right now. We're hoping we can offer it into 2027. So the difference between these 3 is that the basic formation is a 2-year course, and it's geared for those people who have no experience whatsoever in psychoanalysis, or that perhaps would like to engage. Let's say maybe you have experience, but you want to learn through people that are going to facilitate in our program. So then there's no, I mean, let's say, I don't think there's any restriction for anyone to apply basic formation. But the difference is that it's I don't like to say the word beginner, but it's for people that would like to attend all the courses. And it has a different fee than the other ones. The analyst information is something that we're just going to briefly talk, but right now it's just the basic formation is for someone who's starting. And the permanent information are for those people that can or that have already a trajectory in psychoanalysis, either through personal analysis, or if they already are practicing analysts, or if they're scholars in psychoanalysis, but just people that have a little bit more familiarity with psychoanalysis. However, in order to apply, everybody has to apply because it helps, it will help us in the process. It's just when you feel, we're going to get to the how to apply, but I'm just kind of adding that. So regardless of what you want, you need to apply like everybody else. Should we move on, Hilda, to do you have a more detailed or should I jump into the details of, do you have a slide or can I just keep talking?
I have a slide,
Oh, okay.
the next one, the overview of the analytic program. You can go
Okay.
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so the basic formation, it has these three, basically it has modules, which are different courses that will happen throughout the 2 years. And with that, there will have cartels and a colloquia, which would be usually at the end of the year, where people can present what they produce throughout that year, right? And the permanent formation is will have the speaker series, related field activities, the Freud and the Lacan Salon, which, for those who don't know, we had regular meetings, and we usually would read one seminar by Lacan. We've read, I don't know, many of them.
So many.
And there's
in 16 years, yeah.
There's a blur, but there is nothing. I mean, I don't think it matters, because you can read Lacan 300,000 times, and you still find something new. That's my take on it. So, and it's very interesting to read with different people, because each one of us will hear it differently. And so the permanent formation will have these and the conferences. And then the analyst information, which is something that we're not offering yet, then the personal analysis will be suggested, or I don't know if I don't want to say the word mandatory, because it sounds like I'm a super ego, and I really don't like the super ego. The practice and a super audition. So in terms of the basic formation, Hilda, do you want to?
Yeah,
is there anything that I
can I
missed,
just
or
jump
am I
right
going
there?
too fast? Okay, go.
Yeah,
go.
no, that you are going at perfect pace.
Okay.
No, I just wanted to say that the personal analysis is non-mandatory, is the core of the analytic formation, right? If someone wants to become an analyst, right, it requires to have that experience, because obviously is there where the the ideals of the subject supposed to know, the narcissism, the aggressivity are deconstructed through their process of analysis, and that is fundamental for for being able to listen to someone. Just wanted to say that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I made a lapses, I think, because I was thinking about I mean, we've spent so much time with these things that I think I'm like sleeping and waking up with formation in my head. But it's just that I meant in terms of the basic formation and the permanent formation, it's suggested that the person is in analysis, but not mandatory, but not the analysis information. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the basic formation. Okay, because I have my own thing and you have your own thing. So I'm going to read yours. Sorry, I got to open that. Okay. It is, let's see, it's open. Yeah, so I said that. It's open to anyone who's interested in knowing about psychoanalysis, people from any background. Duration of 2 years. Each year will be divided in 2 terms. And each term will have 16 work sessions of 3 hours, and bi-weekly open discussion sessions facilitated by a range of scholars and clinicians. So this is kind of the way it's structured. And then we're not going to talk about the scholars and clinicians just yet. I don't even know if Hilda put that there, but it will be in the program when it is on the website. You want to move to the next one, Hilda, please?
Right. And the idea is that in each semester, right, this is like just the regular sort of 2 years divided by the modules. The idea is that in each of this semester, various clinicians and scholars participate, sort of presenting and having one visitor every semester in person to be able to come and share their experience. We have already some people committed, like Dan Collins, Denise Maurano, but also I have been, with all of us, have been kind of talking with different people, Carol Owens, Joe Scalia, who is with us today from the Institute of Democratic Psychoanalysis in the States, Steve Van Hollen, Eve Watson, the potentially Bruce Fink, Paul Verhaeghe. We know a lot of different people that are scholars, obviously from Corpo Freudiano. There's a lot of production, very rigorous and very interesting production, and we aim to bring people like Denise Maurano to talk to us. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the way we did this, because I mean the other Corpo Freudiano schools in Brazil, I'm in Brazil right now, so I've attended quite a few of their classes, seminars. And I think each school has a different structure because these are the modules, right? Formation of the analyst, the unconscious and the drive, imaginary, symbolic, and real, castration, Oedipus and beyond, transference and repetition, clinical structures. But each school in a different area of Brazil will structure that in a different way. That's our way. We feel that that's of course, each person will be different. As those who have studied psychoanalysis know that it's kind of you learn as if you're like jumping in and out of water. Sometimes you feel wet, sometimes you don't. So it's like weird. I'm talking in a very strange way, but I'm a poet, so. But in the sense that the knowledge doesn't come at once, so it's really difficult to find an order that will fit in everybody's mind because each person understands differently. But that's kind of how we together thought that would be the maybe not easier, but the more fluid way. So the first semester of 2026 will start with the formation of the analyst, the unconscious and the drive from March to June. And then we'll have facilitators, we'll have speakers for each one of these modules. We call them modules. And then the second term or semester, from September to December, the focus will be imaginary, symbolic, and real from Lacan's concept, castration, Oedipus, and beyond. And that beyond is from Freud to Lacan, and of course other theories, other theories as well. But those are the focus. And then the second year, each year will have. Let's see if I can find the other thing. But there will be written productions, cartels that go with these modules. Oh, you're already there. Okay, so yeah, so this is kind of how we'll work together with the seminars. So the various topics per semester, the members will have to submit and present 2 written works per year. And we'll have the cartels, which is a way of articulating some of these theories through your own words, and having a question answered. You want to go back there, Hilda? Just to see if I said everything. Did I say everything from that second year?
Yeah, I think that you cover. Yeah, just wanted to mention. I don't know if any one else from the board wants to jump into talking a little bit about cartels. Anyone?
I could say something brief anyway about it. I mean, because I've been a part of a cartel as a part of Corpo Freudiano in Vancouver now for a while too, and I found it, to be a wonderful and really unique way of working. It's my first official cartel also. And I think it's also kind of crucial, I think it's crucial for Lacan too. I think Juan Luis talked about that, as a part of what a school does and how a school functions. But I think it's a beautiful kind of laboratory for new ways of thinking about things that engages you, on different levels too. It's not the same as a reading group or something, let's say, or getting together to talk about a text, right? I think there's something a bit more to the structure of the group and how it functions and how it moves over time too, right? Like written here too, they're experimental, non-hierarchical spaces for collaborative research and production, right? This is a nice, I think, concise way of putting it too. Yeah, and I would invite people to, to reach out about it too, to find, to ask about, other people who are interested in forming cartels. And if you're motivated too to on a particular topic or particular subjects, please reach out
Right.
and
And the cartels work within the logic of the analytic act. That means that, let's say, there's a group of people, like Lacan suggested, between 3 to 5 people to study about a question, as Desiree mentioned, that it's it can be shared by the other people, and then they invite someone that is called the plus one, and that plus one person is in the job of sort of bringing that logic of the analytic act into the group. It's asking the questions, provoking the impasses, the conflicts to be grappled within a certain logic of the unconscious, and honoring the work that everybody's doing. And it's key. It's absolutely key to the formation of the analyst, because it's sharing with others in a very intimate space, right? Because you are just with few people, and then you meet regularly. So it is a lovely experience. And the idea is that will eventually be presented when the cartel reaches its logical conclusion. It will be a production that is, they say, or Lacan said in his school, a cielo vert, like to open sky, presenting the production that you did with those authors in a panel, in a colloquium, or in La Conference, or that we have the annual La Conference. We just have one recently on feminine desire, who was very wonderful, and or at the annual Corpo Freudiano meetings that they do in Brazil. So it's the idea is to have these activities to nourish the life of the school. Desiree or anyone?
So then the next one is, so you are back to the basic formation. Yeah, I finished, right? The second year of the
this one, yes.
Transference and repetition, clinical structures.
Yeah.
And then, so the permanent formation would, the person that does, let's say, the basic formation can finish and leave. But what we hope is that they stay in the permanent formation. So it's kind of a logical move from the basic formation to the permanent formation, but it's, it's what you want, really. But we would like that people stay, because that's how a school is built, is with this engagement with people starting to facilitate the workshops or the cartels, and help to build the school, because we want more people that want to do this together. So the permanent formation is kind of the logical path from the basic formation, but it's also for those who, let's say, already belong to a different school and want to join us, or would like to participate in these in these seminars, or in the speaker series, because the events that we have had them through the Lacan Salon. We were still the Lacan Salon? Yeah, we were. And then also through when we became Corpo. But we had the speaker series, which was a series of meetings with different scholars. Now my mind went to a blank, but I'm sure you guys can remember. We have a YouTube channel. I think they're all there, if I'm not mistaken. So it's kind of a little bit of an appetizer of what we had. I think we're going to have, the main course is going to be even better, but I can't tell you what it is yet, because Hilda probably knows in her head, but I can't, or someone else. I just blocked, which is good, because it becomes like a surprise. You don't know, then you want to know. So and also we're going to have particular guests to facilitate those modules. So, for example, on the formation of the analyst, there will be people that will be talking about those specific themes, unconscious, conscious, and the drives, the same thing. So that's part of the permanent formation, but also part of the basic formation. And other events that we plan to create, like poetry reading in Vancouver, or online art shows, books, and the very loved Freud and Lacan Salon study groups, or maybe some people hate it. I love them. It's very, very fun. I think it's a very good space. What else? Coming, you guys can have lots of questions, which I might not know how to answer, but I have other very bright people in the board that can do that. And what's coming up, Hilda? I see it very little in your thing. You want to talk about that a bit, so I can,
Sure.
or someone else.
Yeah, maybe let's give the voice to someone else, like, I don't know, Mandana, Alois, who haven't talked about it.
Maybe I mean, Alois, do you want to jump in? I think maybe it's I would say a little bit about like we're working on a publication that is coming up. Hopefully in spring, it's gonna be about this the papers that has been presented in the La conference of this year. We will be talking about like analyst formation. When we get there, I think like in 2 years, maybe it's time for opening up questions for people to ask us questions because we said a lot. I know that might
We just need to talk about the how to apply, and then we open to no.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mandy, to cut you off.
Yeah, okay, I can talk about that part, no? So to apply. Well, now we are talking about applying for the basic formation and the permanent formation, no? So if you are a person that have interest in psychoanalysis but never went into an analyst office or never went through any like education, basic formation is perfect for you. Even if you have done a lot of studying and you have been in analysis, whatever, like, but you still are like, well, I am very interested in learning in a more like kind of like systematic way to study with people, to discuss this text, no? Still, this program is fascinating for you, I think, no? So you would be like focusing on seminal works, studying them with people. And you might want to become an analyst or not. So this program is for those who are like, like, okay, this might be my first step to become an analyst, or no, I'm just interested in learning about psychoanalysis. So apply. Apply by January 4th, this upcoming January. What do you need for your application? You need a letter of intention. Tell us like who you are, what you've done, just as we introduced ourselves to you, no? A little bit about yourself, and why you want to do this. And then we will reach out to you. You will have an interview with three board members, three of us. There's like part of the application package, you need to fill out a form that would be on the website. You need to pay a registration fee or like an application fee for $150. There, like, if you're accepted, which I don't think, why not? There will be a membership. You might be accepted in the basic formation program or the permanent formation, kind of like a stream. You will pay in both cases a membership of $500. That's an annual membership. It will provide you access to all the activities, and you will be a part of like kind of like constructing the school with us. But also, if you are in basic formation, you would pay a $2,000 for 2 semesters. In the first year, it would be 4 modules, in the second, 2 modules. No, you can pay it in 2 parts. And as we mentioned before, personal analysis is not mandatory at this moment. But if you are planning to become an analyst, today you have to start looking for an analyst. If you have any question, if you think that we haven't like now we have time for your questions, but after the session, anytime that during working on your application, if you have any question, please reach us at info@corporofradianovancouver.com. I think I stop here.
And we open to questions. Thank you, Mandana. Any questions, any comments that you want to, circulate? We want to hear you now.
Hi, it's
Hi.
speaking here. Thank you all. That's super interesting and inspiring. My question is about in-person versus remote ways of accessing the program and what the kind of requirement or balance would be between those two things. I live outside of Vancouver and I'm curious about, what the kind of balance between in-person and remote.
We have been working in hybrid options, and we are committed to continue providing the hybrid options. If you live in, let's say, in British Columbia or near Vancouver, it would be desirable that when the speakers come, the special guests that come to facilitate some of the work, that you could make yourself available if that is possible. If not, we will still committed to the hybrid for people who, like Eric, live far away and cannot be kind of traveling often. But that's a great question. So hybrid would be our motto.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hamad, and I'm from Pakistan. And I'm still an undergraduate student of literature in my last year. And I've been thinking, not thinking actually, I've decided to take Lacanian psychoanalysis as my field of expertise, say, for my academic career. And I'm lucky enough to be here, I would say. And I've been also associated with Lacan Circle of Australia, the reading group. We read Lacan every week, and I've been up to Lacan's texts also. And my question is actually that as it's a reality, there's nothing to be embarrassed about that. We belong from a third world country, and first we have to encounter the financial crisis when we think to jump from a subfield to field. And to your knowledge, to the knowledge of you all, there is not a single school, not a single department of Lacanian psychoanalysis even in our country. And this is also a point of disappointment for me, but I'm looking forward. And I just wanted to ask that if there is some sort of concession in this fee thing annual, or is there moreover, is there a scholarship you guys are offering or something? Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Who wants to answer that? I can go ahead, but circulating. Okay. Alois.
Yes, I think we don't want finances to be a barrier to participating in the project. We've talked quite a lot about like when we were setting up the fee structure for our school, we looked at other schools around the world, essentially, particularly in North America, what they charge, and I think in terms of the fees, compared to a lot of schools, we are pretty reasonable, and especially compared to a lot of workshops, classes that are performed in like the counseling field. I think our school is very reasonable compared to those. So I do think that there is like a lot of work, a lot of labor goes into the school, it goes into the teaching, goes into putting everything together, a lot of equipment for hybrid. And yes, all of that, it does have a cost. And obviously, we're not looking to make money. I don't think we're gonna make a profit with the school or anything close to that. But the cost, it does reflect the reality that yes, a lot of work and money has already gone into this project. And yes, we're not looking to make a profit or anything like that. But to go back to what I said at the start, we wouldn't want finances to be a limitation. So if there is uh, something we can work out, at this point we don't have a scholarship program, but we are open, I think, to a sliding scale for the cost of the program. So, but we will handle that, I think, at this point on a one by one basis. So if finances are a limitation to you participating in the school, you can, of course, include that in your letter of intention or communicate that to us during the interview. And yeah, I think we're flexible, but at the same time, we do have to respect that a lot of work and labor and money goes into forming a school. And yes, yeah, there is a reason why we charge what we do. I just will conclude with that.
Great, Alois. And yeah, and as we all know, there's a lot of free labor in any cultural sort of building. No, it's there's a lot of unpaid labor, and we understand that part, but also we want to honor the facilitators and all those things that Alois mentioned so clearly. So
Yeah,
thank
I acknowledge, and I'd say this, and I truly know that how our academia works in this post-digital era sort of thing. Uh, I just want to add that I will have to take admission application in, I think, the next session, because I'll be graduated in June 2026, and I'll have to go a step further, so maybe at that time. But yes, and that's amazing to see you all, that's amazing to be interacted with you all, and I'm just astonished. Thank you.
Thank you, Haman. Thank you. Um,
There will be ways maybe too to participate otherwise, right? That even if you're not part of it now, you could still, join us for whatever it might be, colloquia or something, where maybe there's a moderate fee or it's open, whatever, right? So we would be happy to, to have you around and to build the relationship and hear from you and your thinking, right? Just to put that out there too.
Yeah, I'll try my best to be along with you guys. Thank you.
That's great. Yeah, there's we are going to have the speaker series or all the things that we presented in the slide. We will have yeah, like some by donation, some with certain fee, and some included for the members. So we didn't go into that because it's just information that at the moment is not relevant. But yeah, definitely we are flexible. Joe.
Thanks, Hilda. Let me get rid of that thing. Yeah. Well, you and I, Hilda, spoke recently in which you used the term working transference, which I see was also briefly mentioned in y'all's presentation today. And so, one, I'd like to hear y'all's definition, maybe elaboration of that concept, and And then I have a question. What is your interest in? Is there a particular aim towards an activism in the right, a psychoanalytic act, an activism in the broadly speaking societal world, so directly outside of the clinic?
Wonderful. Yeah, I would like to answer the first one, and maybe Mandana, would you like to answer the second one? Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, the working transference have to do with honoring each other's talents and working together in a way that is not devoid of antagonisms or tensions, but that it is what is transference? Transference is the discourse of the other, right? Is what it tells us it should be this way or that way. Is the in our societies the phallic order, often sort of hierarchical, often patriarchal, racist, etc. So because these occur in discourse, right? Linguistic formations that or social bondings, no? So the working transference is a term that obviously Corpo Freudiano have developed. Marco Antonio Coutinho talks a lot about that. I didn't mention him. He obviously would be one of the speakers. He is a very important figure of Corpo Freudiano in Brazil. And so it's about being able to work with others in a project that fulfills certain vision, certain desire to build and working together, respecting the difference. No, that's the point. Respecting the difference and building together for spaces of that are brought together in those exchanges, in that social bonding. So that's what we are using as working transference. So we want to work with others and with a certain discourse, certain transference. Like I respect and I am very happy to work with these colleagues, and hopefully with like everybody that join us, that would be part of what holds us together, those working transferences.
Thank you.
Mandana.
Maybe I speak a little bit about like the activism part of your question. I want to first acknowledge that we have I'm I don't think any one of us wants to jump into the group mentality, no? So we have very different kind of like ways of understanding what activism is, and like we might have very different kind of like politics. But I think we agree, all of us, that analysis is a way of kind of like intervening um, the ways in which we relate to one another, no? So we see it as a political, I think we see it as a political act, but we are also interested in not like activism. I guess I am not interested in activism in the kind of let's say like a really normative way of it, maybe more of like, okay, we would like to be able to start a clinic of working with different kind of like yeah, demographic, no? Like not only the middle class, not like the ones who can afford analysis, not only the people who like the neurotics that can, like no, like different types of people who might even not dare to open a psychoanalyst office, no? Like that I think that we all share and are willing to do, but it's like not we're very kind of like we're few, no? We're hoping to become more and to have more power to advocate, even like in terms of, yeah, we are thinking about like why is not psychoanalysis what with like
recognized for the health, right?
Yeah,
Insurance.
recognized for the health insurance, no, in Canada. I don't know about the other parts of the world, but like maybe advocating for that. So like to have a voice, no, to advocate for this discourse that we really treasure and value.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I could agree with fully. Yeah, thank you.
Perry has a question.
Yeah, Perry. Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, great. Yeah, thanks for the presentation. It's very cool. I was just wondering, I had two questions. First one is just like, okay, so if someone signs up, they're fully engaged, they do the whole thing. What do you imagine like the time commitment would be per week, and like how flexible are the classes in terms of time? Is it just like one set time a week, or is it like variable? And then the second one was just about, so from my understanding, there's going to be a College of Health and Care Professionals being created in 2027, and psychotherapist is going to become a protected title and stuff like that. So I was just wondering, are you guys like interested in joining in that, or is there any like collaboration between other schools going on with the therapy stuff, or you want to be your own thing?
Yeah, thank you. I'll jump right away, and then maybe Alois, Eric, Mandana, anyone wants to complement. Yeah, we are well aware because at least two of us, Rachel and myself, we are registered clinical counselors, and some other people are in the process of getting their sort of, you know, certifications, or no, rather it's called registration, right, with a certain body, because yeah, the state is getting more sort of inherence in these sort of things. We are naturally different from other schools, precisely because other schools immediately assimilate the social bonding of the market. So it becomes like, you know, some sort of product. And Rachel and I have talked a lot about that. For example, they tell you you have to have these certain how do you say, like number of hours of continuing studies, and the continuing studies are devoid of the sophistication that the psychoanalytic discourse, for example, has, or the connection to the deep truth of the, you know, of the problems of this human subject. So we we don't see kind of collaborating with other schools, unless that there's some other school that has like this criticality that is at the core of psychoanalysis, Lacanian psychoanalysis particularly, right? That this it's an inbuilt element of criticality. Part of the formation, Lacan said, part of the formation is it's exercising an immanent critique of the school, right? So that doesn't exist in other schools that I am aware, or that we are aware. So probably we will deal with that kind of college regulation when we get to the program of the analyst information. But for now, I don't foresee collaborating with other. We want to bring more counselors to think these questions, right? Like to think these questions that, yeah, that have to do with, you know, the state of the affairs of the world, like the subjective implication, the community work, those kind of things. But really, like, and I have tried so much. I have been here since 2000. I have tried so much, and I did my dissertation, my PhD dissertation, precisely on criticizing the mental health discourses, how simplistic and how fetishistic they are with regards to the evidence-based materials that are really devoid of any subject, right? Like it doesn't respect the person who is suffering with regards to their immense complexity. We know that the work of psychoanalysis deals with those knots that also we defend so profoundly with teeth and nails. Because we don't want to upset that structure that was imposed by language. So yeah, I'm stopping here and letting anyone else if they want to say something.
Oh yeah,
Carrie.
thanks for the response. Just the question about the time commitment as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Should I go with that?
Yeah, please.
I think it's like 3 hours a week, no, for 16, well, like for 32 weeks per year. No, so you have, and the modules are, or like the courses in the first year are 8 weeks each. No? So you study on one subject for 8 weeks, 3 hours, and every month there will be like a Saturday kind of 2 hours meetings in the morning that is like open to people. It's not mandatory. You would like kind of join the discussion to kind of talk with your peers about what you learned, what you didn't, the problems and stuff. But the commitment is like you will be each year into 32 sessions of 3 hours. And we are thinking mostly like we kind of like agreed upon the Tuesday night, so it's like after 6 p.m. Yeah.
6 to 9. Yeah, 6 to 9. It's yeah, it's sort of the time that we determine, and also but also the idea is that the person who is in the basic formation would like to participate of the permanent formation as well, right? Participating of those other activities, because it is there where the working transferences start to occur, right? Like you listen to someone, asking a question, and then maybe you want to connect for like a cartel, right? Like or something like that. So as Mandy said, yeah, those are the mandatory, but also we would like to invite to be part of the permanent formation and participating, yeah, as many activities as is possible for the person. Anyone wants to
I mean,
mention?
I would say maybe I kind of want to say something else to Perry. Now I'm doing social work degree, and I know that you kind of like graduated from that program. My understanding of those, like the at least like the social work in Canada is like it's not very much like um it's kind of like divorced from psychoanalysis, or like they have like really fascinating ideas, but then they don't like go deep enough. It's just like a kind of a scratch on the surface. Maybe this program kind of like offers a kind of like a more, yeah, like a very different kind of a style of learning. It's a different method, no?
Mm.
So, yeah, I think it's particularly very interesting for people who kind of like went to counseling or social work, and they graduated and they're like, okay, so now how we are working clinically, I think this is a very good opportunity to learn a completely different modality, you know?
And in a way, Mandana is answering Alexis' sort of question that she wrote in the chat. I'm going to read it. Hi, thank you for such a bright invitation to this space. I'm sorry for the written question. I am on a long drive. How do you see a place for RCCs, Registered Clinical Counselors, by BC Association of Clinical Counselors, in your school? Which program perhaps, but also how do you see the collaboration between registered clinicians and your vision for analyst formation? A little bit Mandana mentioned, it's like we sort of provide that space for people to continue their formation in the various activities that the school will offer. Particularly, I just wanted that's the Mandana sort of responded there. And I wanted to say that for the analytic, we are not there yet, but for the analytic formation, the way that it works in the majority of the global north and Europe is that the person who enters the analytic formation, they have to have some sort of already, a form of registration with the state, precisely because at the moment we are not able to defend the term psychoanalyst as a legally protected as they have for the therapist, psychotherapist, or counselor. So when we get there, it could be like people who are registered enter the analyst information is pretty much like the clinical core of case discussions and supervision, that we call it super audition, like that was also in Lacan, because it's not like you are kind of overseeing what the person is seeing, but you are listening to what the person is doing in their practice, right, as a supervisor. So we will deal with that at the moment, but I could absolutely, if you are already at RCC, I know that you were doing that, Alexis used to be in the Lacan Salon for various years. It would be great to have you in the permanent formation, while applying, obviously, to participate. We also are going to invite some people from the permanent formation if they can facilitate some of the seminars or the sessions, working sessions for in the basic formation. Am I escaping something, Eric, Alois, Desiree? You're
No,
welcome.
I think you said it well, Hilda. I think it would be great to have different people from different backgrounds, so we start a conversation. I mean, the state is doing one thing, but we can do something else, if I dare to say.
Mm-hmm. Right, and as we know, the driving force of the analytic formation is the desire of the analyst, right? The desire of the person to want to grapple with the difficulties of the unconscious, with sort of hear and discuss about those knots, no, that appear in life in general, no? Any other questions, comments? Reactions?
There was a question in the chat if will the recording be available? Yanara asks.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Janara, yes. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Perry. We will, if there are no, Joe, please, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Just a comment following up on the notion of activism. Yeah, Madonna, I meant it very much in the way you meant it, not in anything normative, but actually in resisting, if you will, normative activism, or acting in a way that is actually well, aiming for, no matter how much in the distant future, as Freud said, a cultural, or I mean, a societal, civilizational transformation. And I have run into in my environmental activism all profound opposition to that. It's like traditional activists are so wed to opposing one ideology and that ideology opposing another, or set of values doing the same from different groups. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify that when I ask about activism, I mean the act.
In that sense, I would be really worried if psychoanalysis becomes the main discourse, no? Then what does, yeah, like, so we have to, in a way, accept the fact that psychoanalysis would remain in the margin, no? Or like would remain on the part of the resistance, no? So that's why I think we all agree that it's a brave practice, no? Because it's a commitment to always be on the side of critical thinking and not going with the flow, not going with the mainstream discourse, no?
Absolutely.
Thanks for that clarification, both.
Should we, if there's no question, maybe we can stop here, and we have to do an in-person session.
We are gonna move to the other place, yeah, in person, yeah. And we hope to hear from you and to receive your application before January 4. If you have any questions, as Mandana mentioned in that slide, you can reach us. All the information will be in the website, and yeah, join us in this adventure.
Thank you all. Very rich what you're doing.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
For
Thank you.
together.
joining us.
Thanks, guys.